Creating a website is really not that hard if you have all the resources and tools that you need to be able to do it. The real hard thing is finding a reliable web hosting provider that allow you to do just that. In today's Verpex hosting review, I just wanted to talk to you guys briefly about why I recommend that you guys create your website, blog, or e-commerce store to sell products online using Verpex's hosting services itself. I'm Wally with LearningNet.com, and if you guys are new here to this channel, hit the subscribe button right below along with the bell, and that way any future videos that I upload, you'll be sure to receive them. So when I think about creating a website with any web hosting provider online, there are four major things that really matter most to me. There are a lot of things that are important, but four that I can think about that really I want to make sure that they're in place before I get started with them. One, obviously, it has to be affordable. It has to be an affordable web hosting provider. Can beginners from anywhere around the world get started with this easily? Is it affordable? So obviously, you need to consider costs. Costs not only with like introductory rates, because a lot of web hosting providers will give you deep discounts on introductory rates itself, but when it renews, it may be a lot more expensive, right? And so what does it cost? Is it affordable? Another thing that I look at, guys, is customer support. Obviously, when you get started, with a web hosting provider, if you have questions about your web hosting, how does this work? If you have an issue that's going down, you want to be able to pick up the phone and contact somebody. And so in the case of a lot of web hosting providers online, some that I've come across only offer email support. Some offer email and chat. Others offer phone, email, and chat. And so in the case of Verpex hosting, they offer all three, which is great. It's 24/7, so somebody's always available. And they have really, really great customer support, something that I wanted to mention to you guys. Very, very affordable. Most web hosting providers online more or less charge anywhere from $10 to $15 on the renewal side itself. As for like discounts itself, you might see like special rates of like, say, maybe $5 or so, $5 to $10. In the case of Verpex, they have an amazing deal right now where you guys can get up to 90% off on your order today. So all the details will be right below. We'll include a link right below that you guys can get started today with them, and that way you can take advantage of the 90% off today. As for their web hosting, guys, they do offer shared web hosting, WordPress hosting, reseller hosting, which is really ideally for people that want to create their own web hosting business. So if that's not you, then you won't need like reseller hosting, VPS, or dedicated hosting. If you're a beginner online, I just highly recommend that you get started with one of their four plans itself. There's the 4 shared web hosting plans, guys. When you get started with those, you'll be off to a really good start, and you have all of the resources that you need to do it. And so cost, also customer support are extremely important. Another thing that I think that you should think about is uptime performance. So when you think about uptime performance, it's really, in short, like a measurement of how reliable your web host is. How reliable are they on their servers itself? So when people are searching for you online, just like you guys did today, maybe you wanted to know, is Verpex hosting legit? Is it a good web hosting provider for beginners? How is their customer support? What do people think about their web hosting? These are questions that people ask all the time. And thankfully, you guys did some research, you found this video, or maybe you're on my website, and you're checking it out to look a little bit further, right? And so when you think about uptime performance, when people search for you online, if your website is not clickable, they can't click through to it, that's an issue. It means that you will lose money in your business. And so in the case of Verpex hosting, they maintain an average of 99.9% of uptime or better. They have really, really great uptime performance, super reliable. Of course, just like with any web hosting provider, they do have program times where they service, their servers itself, or even data centers. All web hosting providers do that. They need to do that to give it, the normal maintenance. But all in all, they're a super reliable web hosting provider. And that's something that I wanted to mention to you guys briefly in this review. The fourth avenue that I think you should really be concerned about is security. Before I get started with any web hosting provider online, guys, I always want to know first, what does the web hosting provider do to protect websites online? And thankfully, in the case of Verpex, through my experience, with them, they have several measures in place. I won't go through all of them right here, but what I will do is leave some information right below along with a link. That way you guys can look further into this with this review that I'm putting up on the channel, and you can learn more about it. And so they have around the clock scanning for malware, which is great to block malware. They have Immunify 360, which is a really great measure in place, and not only block things like malware, but brute attacks, intrusions, viruses. All of these things are really important to have in place, guys. Really strong firewall, because I was thinking about a stat that I found online, and it basically said that in upwards of like 30 to 50,000 websites are hacked each and every day. So that gives you something to think about. And why is it that you need a website that is protected 24/7 by a web hosting provider that has these measures in place? And so if you go on places like Trustpilot, I'll link up to them right below. You'll see tons upon tons of positive reviews, testimonials from people just like me and you that love their web hosting services. They're really pleased with the cost, the very low cost that Verpex has, their amazing customer support, their great security, and of course, as I mentioned before, the uptime performance. So these are like four major things, guys, that I think that are extremely important when it comes to creating any website, blog, or e-commerce store online. This is what I look for, and these are some things that I wanted to share with you guys in this video. So I highly recommend getting started with Verpex. They have an amazing deal right now, especially for beginners, where you'll be able to get started for only $1.33. And when you guys place your order today using the links below, you're going to be able to take off 90% off your entire order. So the way that I recommend that you do this is that you purchase more web hosting up front. I recommend this with any web hosting provider, because the reality is that you purchase web hosting today, a year forward, when it renews, if you only purchase in a year, it's just going to renew and the price is going to go up slightly. But I think in the case of Verpex, comparing them with other web hosting providers like Bluehost or even SiteGround, where your very first year it's like $80, but when it renews, like on the second year with SiteGround, where it used to be, it basically more than doubled. So it was like well over $200. I think like $220 to be exact, something like that. And so it's very expensive at SiteGround. Just the opposite with Verpex. You get started for $1.33 right now, the introductory rate right now. When it renews, it'll renew at $5. At SiteGround, it's like $6, and then when it renews, it's going to be like 3 times as much per month. And so again, I highly recommend, guys, that you get started today with a super affordable web hosting provider, not only on the front or back end. If you can purchase a few years up front, maybe like 2-3 years, I think it'd be definitely worthwhile. They do offer a 45-day money-back guarantee. A lot of web hosting providers online, a lot of popular hosts only will give you 30 days. 30 days is great. I mean, that's like the standard, like in the industry, the web hosting industry itself. But again, 45 days to try out their web hosting itself, and that way you can see if it's for you. So I've been pleased, with the customer support and all of these previous avenues that I mentioned before, and I know you guys will too once you get started today. So if you haven't done so already, guys, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and with future videos that I upload, you'll be sure to receive them. And go ahead and smash the like button, give your support to this YouTube channel. That way other amazing people just like yourselves will be able to find the same video in YouTube search. Get started today, guys, by using the links below, and I hope you guys much success in your endeavors of launching your website today and also going forward with your business. Have an amazing day. Take care.